Yeah, I think as fans, like we've seen the growth of you as a fighter, but also as a person. Like in Baku, it seemed like you had such a control over your body, your breathing, your fighting kind of game plan. You could see that you went into that thing with just a whole new level of a fighter. Like it really seemed like you leveled up to a different type of person. And I remember talking to you before the fight. You seemed so calm, so collective. So obviously you were, I think your game plan you guys had was probably very, very disciplined. Like you could just see there was nothing to be rushed.
Yeah.
I want to know, what's the first thing? Let's talk about the Yuri fight. What's like the first thing you look at when analyzing an opponent that you bring to him, you bring to yourself when you're creating the game plan as a coach? And then I want to kind of ask you what you look at.
I always have a very fluid game plan as a coach. So much shit happens in an MMA fight that I feel like a lot of times it's a detriment if you go to this, hey, we have to stick to this one thing. And if that thing doesn't work, we're screwed. And then you look at fighters who can't pivot off that. Oh, it's not working. One punch, one kick, one injury, one this can change the whole outcome of a fight. So when I go to game plan, I go look at the fighter, and I don't overanalyze. Like I don't spend days and days and days and days watching. I focus more on my guy, but I watch what they do. I go back and watch some of their old fights. I watch some of their stuff and see if there's the tendencies that are just always going to be there. This guy is always going to do this stuff. And then when I develop the game plan, a lot of times it depends on the fighter. Some fighters want to know exactly what the game plan is. They want to know, hey, tell me exactly what this guy is going to do, what we're going to do, how it's done. And some people don't, they want to know because it feels too much pressure, like there's too much pressure. Like my wife over there didn't want to know too much. I would just do, she just tell me what to do. Okay, cool. Khalil's kind of like that too. We'll figure out, it's a loose game plan of like, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. If it doesn't, through this game plan, there's A, B, and C. I have those three things that are happening. If he does this, we're doing that. If he doesn't do this, then we're going to keep doing this. If he starts to pivot off and do this, then we come back to A, B, and C, and you'll find a way. There's always a clear path to victory. And you start on that path, and then there's multiple paths that start to spike off of that, of like, oh, we got to go this way or got to go that way. Or like I said, one punch can change a whole game. What was the game plan again? I don't remember,
Yeah, 100%.
So you have to I like to have a fluid game plan where there's 2 or 3 different options of these things and multiple ways on how to get there.
What did you look at Yuri, for example?
Oh, Yuri's a madman. That guy is like so all over the place, but there's certain things. There's certain things that I saw that, we could capitalize on. One, if we went out there, Yuri likes the chaos and Khalil likes the chaos too, but we are more technical, sharper, faster fighters. So let's use that to our advantage until we don't, want to, or we want to move on to the chaos. I'm fine with, at any point in time, if this man wants to start throwing down, like I like our chances, but we don't need to go to that first. And you saw how that was happening. And we were technically picking Yuri apart. There was a lot of good success and a lot of things that were on a path to victory, and so hats off to Yuri. That dude is just, he's, from a different planet, I think, and he does a lot of different stuff. But honestly, there's a lot of stuff that goes behind these fights too, injuries and things. And, like you spoke upon in Baku when we fought Jamal, there was a lot of injuries, a lot of things that we couldn't do in that fight. Yeah. So hats off to him. As a coach, do I think he could have finished that fight had we been 100%? Absolutely. But those are the kind of fights where he did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight within the realm that we could win that fight. Yeah. If we stepped out of that, it might not have gone so well. Yuri, again, fights like that, you just never know. One punch, one thing, fights are fights, man. Yeah. It's so crazy, and so I knew that our technical speed and ability was going to be the thing that would get us there. But if we needed to go to, hey, it's time to throw down, we go. But said some things happen. That's that.
Yeah. What do you look at?
Yeah. Just to add to that, like, I think what he said is 100% accurate. We had a technical game plan against Yuri, and it worked for the first 2 rounds. And the same thing, just like John said, one punch can change a lot of things. And I remember specifically there was one punch in the 3rd round that shifted me from technical to let's brawl. And my whole thing is we knew that Yuri, what he's capable of when it's chaotic. And that's where we start to roll the dice a little bit. But I knew from the start, and I still know that technically I beat that guy on any day. You know what I mean? So like if we run that back, and I just put the third round like I did the first and second, he doesn't stand a chance. But because that one punch, because of that dog that I got, he hit me. It was hard, and I turned into, all right, this is a brawl. And that wasn't necessarily the game plan. So like my mistake, or not even mistake, but just like that's just part of who I am that I gotta, continue to work on and adjust. That like if I get hit with a heavy shot, that doesn't mean that I need to go straight brawl. I just stick to the game plan and be more technical. But that was it. It's like one punch. And I went to a brawl, and then we rolled the dice, and you know what I mean? He just so happened to,
We've won a lot of fights like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never know. Like that's the thing, that's the crazy thing, the great thing about fighting, and the terrible thing about fighting is you never know. Like he's gonna win that, I would say, more than 50% of the time. Yeah. And then sometimes we're just not. But that's, like I said, what makes our sport so fantastic and so terrible at the same time. From this side of it, as a fan, I love it. Like half the time, more than half the time, the underdogs win. You just don't know.